Once upon a time, in a small town at the edge of the green forest, lived a kind-hearted little beanie bouncer named Paddington. Paddington was no ordinary beanie bouncer. He loved marmalade sandwiches, beautiful forest flowers, and his little red hat that Grandma made for him. He was gentle, polite, and curious, and all the neighbors smiled whenever they saw him walking through the streets. One bright morning, Paddington went to visit Katy. Katy was a wise beanie bouncer lady who lived in a cottage deep inside the forest. Paddington packed a basket full of treats, a loaf of bread, a jar of honey, and of course a jar of marmalade. He visits Katy every Sunday. With his red hat shining in the sunlight, Paddington set out into the forest. The forest was filled with tall trees. Birds chirped happily, and squirrels darted from branch to branch. Paddington hummed a tune as he walked along the winding paths, swinging the basket in his paw. But not all creatures in the forest were as kind as Paddington. In the shadows of the trees lurked a sly and cunning dog named Slush. Slush had gray fur, sharp teeth, and a sneaky smile. He loved tricks and games, but most of all, he loved causing trouble. When Slush saw Paddington walking with his basket, he thought, what a fine prize that would be. A sweet beanie bouncer, all alone with a basket of food. Perhaps I can trick him and have a feast for myself. Slush stepped onto the path and greeted Paddington with fake politeness. Good day, beanie bouncer. Where are you going with that fine red hat and such a tasty-looking basket? Paddington, being polite and honest, replied cheerfully, Good morning. I'm on my way to Katy's cottage. She lives at the far end of the forest, and I'm bringing her some treats. Slush's eyes gleamed with mischief. Oh, how lovely! But the path is so long and boring. Why don't you take the shortcut through the meadow? It's much quicker. Paddington tilted his head thoughtfully. He remembered Katy once warning him, never trust strangers who try to lead you off the safe path. And so he answered, Thank you, but I'll stay on the path Katy told me to follow. It might be longer, but it's the right way. Slush grinned slyly. As you wish, little beanie bouncer. But the dog was already planning another trick. While Paddington continued down the path, Slush ran through the trees, taking a hidden shortcut. He reached Katy's cottage long before Paddington arrived. Katy was inside, knitting by the fire. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Who is it? She called. It's me, Paddington, Slush answered, disguising his voice. But Katy was clever. She peeked through the windows and saw the dog standing there with a wicked grin. Oh no, Katy whispered. She quickly hid at the cupboard and waited. Slush pushed the door, then jumped into the Katy's bed, pulling the blankets up to his chin. Not long after, Paddington knocked at the door. Katy, it's me, Paddington. I've brought you treats. Come in, dear. Slush growled softly, pretending to be Katy. Paddington entered the cottage holding up the basket, but something felt strange. He looked at Katy lying in the bed. Her ears looked too pointy, her eyes too sharp, and her teeth far too big. Paddington stepped closer and asked politely, Katy, what big ears you have! All the better to hear you with, my dear. Slush answered, struggling to keep his voice gentle. And Katy, what a big eyes you have, Paddington said, tightening his hat. All the better to see you with, my dear. And Katie, what big teeth you have, Paddington finally said. Slush could not hold back anymore. He leaped from the bed. All the better to eat you with, he snarled. Paddington gasped, but instead of running away, he stood tall holding his hat. He remembered Katie's words. This hat will keep you safe. He quickly pulled a jar of sticky marmalade from the basket and hurled it at Slush. The jar burst open, splattering marmalade all over the dog's fur. Slush stumbled, growling and slipping as the sticky sweetness glued his paws together. Just then, Katie burst out of the cupboard with a broom in her paws. "Out of my house, you naughty dog!" she shouted, swinging the broom. Slush yelped, covered in marmalade, and ran out of the cottage, never to return. Paddington and Katie laughed with relief. "Oh, Paddington, you were so brave," Katie said, hugging him tightly. "And clever too. You used all what you had to save the day." Paddington blushed under his red hat. "I just did what you always taught me. Be kind, but also be smart." They sat together by fire, enjoying the bread, honey, and marmalade that had not been wasted in the battle. Katie told more stories, and Paddington listened happily, feeling proud and safe. From that day on, everyone in the forest knew about the brave little Beanie Bouncer with a red hat who outwitted the cunning dog. And whenever Paddington walked through the forest, the animals would smile and say, "There goes Paddington, the clever Beanie Bouncer who never loses his kindness or his hat." And so, the tale of Paddington, the Beanie Bouncer, was told for many years, reminding children everywhere that courage, kindness, and a touch of clever thinking can overcome even the trickiest of dogs.